Greetings from Cairo, Boris and ghouls. And today, we are going to delve into the distant past and bring forth the hand of the mummy. And you, too, can have this undead Egyptian's hand in your collection. All you need to do is to stay tuned. Today's project, we're going to be making a mummy's hand. Now, I got this one at Dollar Tree. It's supposed to be one of those that you stick in the ground. As you can see, the detail's not particularly great, so this will be perfect for a mummy's hand. Because it's not like a really detailed skeleton hand. It's just kind of a, more or less, kind of a, I don't know, not as detailed. So, what we're going to do is we're going to open this dude up. Other things you're going to need, and I'll show you in just a moment. Oddly enough, this is not going to be a hot glue project so much. You'll need the skeleton hand. You can discard the little lawn spike or use it for something else. You're going to need one of a little like an aquarium gem or a gardening gem. You're going to need some rolled gauze, a little toilet paper. I've also got some black paint, a little brown, and a little purple, and that purple's kind of optional. And I don't know why the red's in here. I just left it in here from another from the candle project. Oh, and also you're going to need some regular school glue. That's what we're going to be using in lieu of the hot glue gun, because the way I'm wanting to do this, the hot glue is going to cause more trouble than it's going to solve. So, with no further ado, oh, that was a glare. Hang on. Okay, letting it refocus here. Everything's kind of yellow. Hang on just a minute. Alright. No, it's not as bright, but we're going to try to work with it this way. So the first thing we're going to do, let's get this camera set up. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the big brush here and my paint rag, because you always got to have a paint rag, you know that. And we're going to paint this hand and the arm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our paint, and I'm going to have to probably get a smaller brush. Let's get us a slightly smaller brush. At least one that'll fit down in there better. That's tiny. I need a... Hang on. I gotta find a brush that we can do this with. Nope. I need one that's slightly bigger than most of them, but slightly smaller than that giant of a brush. Alrighty. Or I need to put it in a palette or something. Alright. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint this skeleton hand. Now you may have to do 2 or 3 coats, as this kind of stuff, the plastic, the color, the natural color of the plastic will bleed through. And you may end up having to paint it where you can hold on to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint up the hand. The reason mummies are black is because they usually coated them in some sort, in resins and things like that, and so when stuff dries out, it concentrates colors. It's also an interesting thing to note that they used to use mummies, ground up mummies, for paint pigment, and the color that came out of it is, well, that kind of a purplish color, and that's why I've got that color in here. So I'm going to kind of dash over the top of it just a hair. So what we're going to do is I'm going to paint the upper coat of this, and then we'll let it dry and we'll come back. and we'll get back to show you where everything else goes, so just bear with me. Alright, we're going to let that side dry and we'll be back with you. Alright guys, we got this one side painted, now we're going to paint the back side of it. Same deal. I know you're saying, well, you could have just painted it and come back and told me, but well, I want to kind of keep you all in the loop on every facet of this. So, that way, if you decide to try this yourself, won't be no surprises. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to paint the other side. This wouldn't be a big deal as far as painting both sides, except for the fact that this will be capable of being seen from all sides. So, you kind of want to have all your sides to be visible. To be where it won't, the illusion won't be broke from any side. And now, if you really wanted to go in for true illusion on this, you could go in and put like maybe a thicker latex based paint where it would wrinkle a little bit and make it look even more like dried flesh, but I'm not going to go quite there yet. But you could do that in theory. This in here is going to take just a little bit more time than some of the others we've done, because there's just so much that has to be done. Let's see. But yeah, the process of mummification is quite interesting, really, because any process that begins with shoving a wire up somebody's nose to pull their brains out is pretty interesting. Anyway, there we are. Now, we're done with the black for right now. We're going to let that dry, and then we'll start putting on the other colors. And we'll be back with you shortly. Alright guys, the paint's dry enough. We're going to go ahead and go for the next part, which is going to be just a little bit of this melted chocolate brown, and I'm going to dry brush it off. So what we're going to do, get this brush here, we'll get our little black brush again, the brush that I was just using to put the paint on the base coat on, because there's not a whole lot of detail here. It's just kind of throwing on just kind of like that, just all over it. Because you don't want a whole lot, but you do need a little bit of this. Ooh. Alright, and there's one pitfall. Fortunately for us, just gonna kind of go over it. You can't hit this too hard with this, so it will cause your paint to come off, which means rubbing it may not be an option here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do this, and I'm going to gently try to rub off some of this and hopefully not take off my outer layer of paint, which is problematic to say the least. So we're just going to kind of just go along with this until we run out of, until it stops pulling up so much paint off the sides here. So, yeah, the process of mummifying a person took 70 days, during which time the body was subjected to things such as having the organs removed, except for the heart, which the Egyptians believed was the seat of intelligence. The brain was removed through the nose with a hook. the internals and externals were filled with spices and things like of that nature. Let's go see what we get now. Okay, we may need to do something about this. So I'm going to have to dab it down because this paint is not holding. Now you probably could have got away with that a little more by sanding it. But we're going to just kind of dab it. Because you don't want to tear off any more paint than necessary here. Now a little bit's not going to hurt anything because it's a mummy. It's got to look rotten anyway. I may not end up using much of that purple because it's a little too bright, but we'll make this work when we're through. Okay. We'll go ahead and patch up where this paint came off. And I'm going to leave that. That actually looks good. And go ahead and get this side since we're in the neighborhood. Just got to be real careful. You don't want to rub the paint off. And right here you can see apparently I didn't get it good right there. So right in there. But that's okay. We'll take care of it. And hopefully not. Like I said, I don't want to have a whole lot of excess paint, but I need it to. I'm trying to age this thing is what I'm trying to do. I'm surprised this paint doesn't hold on here better. I guess it's because the manufacturer didn't count on people like me painting it. Could have spray painted it, I suppose. I'll go ahead and get this done. Grab a different brush. Nope, not that one. Where did the one I just had? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So let's just kind of now, a little more of this paint is kind of, I don't want to go too nuts with it, but we do need a bit, so that's all we'll use on this side. And hopefully it won't bleed out like it did before. That was it, flat out pulled paint off of it, didn't it? It flat out pulled off the, stripped the paint off of it. Now, let that dry a minute. See, what we're going to do is when this dries, we are going to put some glue on it right here, and kind of some of this Elmer's glue right here, and then we're going to glue on this toilet paper in sort of a decoupage almost, and then I'll go over it with the gauze for texture. This is going to be the king's ring, the ruby ring. It's going to go on the finger of this mummy, and that will be hot glued on. Everything else not so much, but that'll be hot glued in place. So there you are, and we'll be back with you when this dries. Alright guys, the hand is dry now. It kind of looks like a creepy old mummy hand.
It actually more kind of looks like a skeleton hand that just got out of the dark. The dark covered the hand.
Well, mummy hands are kind of shrunk up anyway. Alright.
Can I do the toilet paper? I'm kind of a pro at that.
No. You're a pro at wrapping things in toilet paper? Not the way we're doing it. I'll show you.
Okay.
What we're doing is actually going to be more akin to something like decoupage.
Can I hold the toilet paper?
Hold on to that a minute.
Okay.
Alright. First thing we're going to do is we're going to try to wrap it up here at this stump. As soon as this glue comes out. Come on, glue. Don't make a monkey of me. it's going to make a monkey of me. I'll tell you, never open a bottle of glue with your teeth. Bad things happen.
Including getting glue in your mouth.
Yeah. This morning. That was not fun. That was not fun for me.
Let me try.
I don't think you need glue in your mouth either.
Not with my mouth.
Hang on. I gotta figure out why the glue's not coming forth. Hang on. Got some glue that's not wanting to come out.
Got some glue that ain't glue.
Well, I'll tell you how we do this.
Maybe it's stuck like that.
Alright, here, hand me the paper. Here's how we're gonna start.
Bye-bye.
Alright, I need the end of this.
Okay. Let me just find
Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna scatter it about like that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of do that, but we also got to go in underneath here on this side. Let me see if I can get this. Because I don't want to glue the stuff to my fingers.
I'll hold it.
Oh, here, we got to get it over on camera. There we
Yeah,
go.
we got it.
Alright, what we're going to try to do...
Camera to help.
Well, don't get it too shaky now. Alright. Make sure you focus on it now. Alright. Oh, well, we got some air that time. Now, let's just make sure I don't have this... Come on. This is the most awkward, and this is why I usually prefer hot glue, but in this case, regular glue is going to have to work. Well, provided I can get it out.
Yeah.
This is silly. This is just
very silly.
Very silly.
Right, Dr. Von Mann?
Very silly. Alright, we're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, and I'm probably going to get messy, so... Kids, if you're doing this, get a grown-up to help you, because this is...
You do not want to glue your fingers to your project.
Well, you wouldn't do that. This glue's not going to last. Isn't going to be that big a thing, but I got to get... You got to get glue.
You want me to help hold the toilet paper?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I just got to get... Okay, now...
I can get focused on the
Okay,
thing.
we're going to have to... You're standing on the paper.
Okay.
Alright, now...
Sorry.
It's alright. I just got to see if I can figure out why this... I wish I knew why this lid wasn't doing right. That's annoying. I had it going this morning.
The filling.
But Mads...
I know the filling.
Yeah. And it's... No.
No.
Alright, we're going to have to do this...
anything.
We're going to have to do it this way. I don't like doing it this way because it's messy.
Very messy.
But you may end up having to kind of do this. And if you do, wash your hands. And don't lick your fingers. This stuff's awful. Now, what we're going to do is pull this around here. And as you can see, we're just kind of... It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to see if I can figure this silly thing out here. Because it's not wanting to release this glue. I'm trying to figure out this lid because putting it on with your fingers is a bit messy.
I need to go over so I can see.
This glue does not want to come out.
I know the filling. Every time at school, that's why we changed to glue sticks.
Glue sticks would be very handy right now. Yes, indeed they would.
Only if we had any glue sticks.
Yeah, I should have bought some glue sticks. Glue sticks would have been very useful, or something with a brush, or an applicator.
Or something to hold the glue so you don't get messy, like a glue stick.
Okay, well, let's get it back on the thing here. Alright. We're going to pull this around, and we got to keep it tight, because mummy bandages were wrapped in a substance called resin.
Yeah.
Which is pine sap, basically.
Basically.
And it gets this weird stuff on it. And it's one of these most shamefully satisfying things on earth is getting glue off your fingers. I don't know why.
And also some people take glue and rub it all over their hand and have the satisfaction of pulling it off their hand.
Oh, that's a strange way of putting it, but okay. This is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Alright.
Why?
There is literally nothing holding this glue into place. There's literally nothing in here. Watch this. You can see the cardboard, the little plastic tip up here.
I think I know what's wrong. It's not open.
Oh, it's absolutely open. It's absolutely open. I'm just trying to get an idea. I got another tool we can try here. Hang on. That's so easy. We're going to try something. I'm trying to do... Pop this dude open just a little bit more. We're trying to figure out why this glue bottle is not wanting to work. And it is still not wanting to work.
Still not wanting to work, Mad's Law.
Yeah, especially since I had it operational this morning. I'm missing a tool. I am quite literally missing a tool.
Yes.
Hang on.
Let me make sure.
Don't really want to use a trowel because that will get stuff all over. Alright.
Trying to get it focused on there.
Okay, well.
Okay, that's perfect.
We're trying to do this. We're going to see if we can get it done. I may end up having to stop the camera for a minute and fight with this glue gun. Matter of fact, I think I will. I'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, we can't seem to get the glue to come out properly, so I'm going to have to use a workaround. And I don't like using workarounds on this stuff, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get a stick and do this. Because this glue is not going to come out of the nozzle. I have no idea why. It's just Mad's Law. What you're trying to do is basically going to be you're trying to kind of coat this and kind of making like a coating of it. And kind of just steamroll it into place here. You're trying to get this stuff as sticky as possible because, like I said, mummies were wrapped in linen, but the linen was covered in resin, so. And it don't have to be perfect. I'm gonna probably cut some of this off of this stump here in a minute. There we go. Now, we're going to move this up a piece because it's not supposed to be perfect anyway. Now, I need to get more glue. It's one of those issues where you're having to deal with malfunctioning equipment. Now, I'll put some glue in place. This is a messy business. You definitely want to have some newspapers or something laid down when you're doing it. Alright, now I got to come up here on top. I'm going to add some more glue and try not to stick it to everything in sight. Alright, we got some glue. Lay that out on this here. Because it doesn't matter if it sticks out just a hair. You're not wanting it to be completely wrapped up, but you do need it to be kind of on there. Now, we're going to pull it to. Oh man, I ripped it. Alright, we're going to swing this around. Gotta kind of press that into place here. Now we're going to come up here. I'm going to try, mind you, let's see if I can do something with this. Basically what I'm wanting to try to do, I'm hoping this is not going to be a failed project. It does happen on occasion. Because you're going to end up having to have some gauze on it, and that's what I'm hoping for, is to have some gauze. This in here may end up having to be something that may not work, but we're going to try it and see. Because I've got a basic idea of how I'm going to do it. Alright, just kind of press that in. Flip this around. That's about all the paper we're going to use, because I'm going to wrap up the hand in like gauze. And do as much as I can in gauze, and if I run out of gauze, I may have to finish this thing up next week. Or pick up some more gauze next time I'm at Dollar Tree. Alright. I may end up coming in and cutting on this, or using a little paint or something to kind of do it. Whoa, do not fall down. Do not need that today. And I think I ended up using more paper than I meant to. Alright, now rip that off. Now I'm going to unfold this, and we're going to wrap that right up around there and stick it too. Now we'll see how much gauze we got on this. Now the gauze I might hot glue in place, because otherwise it's just going to be a pain in the neck trying to get it to stay on. I just kind of wanted that under pad of toilet paper to kind of work as a filler for this for the wrapping. But we'll see what we got. No, we got plenty of wrapping. This ought to do the job nicely. Yeah. And I'm going to end up kind of artificially aging it a little bit with a little yellow and some stuff to kind of bleach it out or whatever. So we're going to let this glue gun heat up, and I'll be back with you in a few. Alright guys, we're going to try to apply the gauze. I'm going to use the hot glue on this one. Just, like I said, I just kind of want to get kind of as you can see, I got a little bit of a stuff with this hot glue up here that's kind of pinkish. It's from the candle project the other day. So that'll bleed itself out, and we're going to be kind of dyeing this material anyway. Alright. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come over here, and we'll put some hot glue here. We're going to pull this backwards and hook it here. Now we're going to come around here. So like I said, I just wanted the toilet paper underneath to kind of give a little bit more body to it. It's not really intended to resemble linen. I chose the gauze because, well, it's gauze. So now we'll have to get some more glue. Where's my glue sticks? Here we are. Now then, kid Mad's out playing, so it'll give me a few minutes to kind of work on this. See how we're getting a little hint of that. It's not going to be a big deal once we're done. Alright, now we're going to come up here, do that. We're going to pull that across, because I want to give him a little bit of body, but I don't want to give it to where he's too muscular looking either. And that just looks icky in and of itself, so it may actually work out for us, because I am going to be dyeing this stuff. And two, my bandages are in a twist. Hang on. The bandages are twisted up. There we go. Now, unravel it. Now, come up here on top. It's an interesting thing to note that Egyptian mummies were also buried with like little scrolls and amulets and all sorts of little prizes, like some big crackerjack of death. Basically, I guess, an ancient Egyptian version of the piñata, except that small children didn't come by and knock them open to steal the candy out of them. They had grave robbers for that. Alright, I'm trying to unravel this. There we go. We got us unraveled. Now, come up here. We're going to do that again. Right here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Ow. Got a little of that hot glue on my hand. Now, come over here. Put another little V of it. You can start to see the colors finally starting to bleed out. which I guess is a good thing, even though it does kind of make this whole thing look just a tad on the weird side. But it's a Halloween decoration we expect. And I'm probably going to go back up and put a little, and once I get to the end of the arm and cover up all the paper, I'm going to go back up and use some of this to wrap around some of the fingers. So I'm hoping not to use it all on this arm. But, alright, now then. Now, come over here. Now, come over here. Now, still got glue all over my fingers. Alright, now. Come up here, and we're almost to the end of the arm, to the severed thing, so I can write a spooky story around the mummy's severed arm. So there we go. We're going to go one more on it, and then I'm going to cut it off, and we'll start working up here on the fingers and stuff, because I got to have it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and cut it off right here. Now we're going to bring this back up here onto the arm itself. Even though you could just kind of leave it hanging, and it kind of gives it this whole kind of a ragged sort of haphazard thing. And to kind of do this with it, just kind of rag it up a little bit right there. There we go. Now it just looks like it's been kind of shredded. Now, let's go up here on the hand. As you can see, that actually did much better than even I anticipated. Now what we're going to do here is I'm going to cut this thing into smaller strips, much like the Egyptians did themselves during the mummification process, because I'm going to roll this up and I'm going to cut it into thinner strips of gauze to wrap the fingers kind of individually, again, like a lot of embalmers did in ancient Egypt. Now, whoa, about knocked the camera over. Okay. Now, let's do this. So what we're going to do is I've got this piece here that's been cut, and it's very narrow. See? Narrow and kind of ragged, which is even better. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the thumb over here. I'm going to put a little bit right here. We're going to attach that here. I'll turn this around, and I'm going to just kind of haphazardly glue it into place as we come upon the hand here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of just randomly wrap it around fingers, like so. The idea is that if it's completely wrapped, it won't look like a mummy. You need it to kind of have that gross factor, looking like an Egyptian mummy's hand. So I don't want it to be completely covering up the paintwork and stuff that I did. So now we're going to use one other bit of gauze, and I'm going to kind of cut it into little pieces because I don't want it being 100% on there. And that's going to be just kind of wrap a little bit around a fingertip or two. If you've ever seen an actual Egyptian mummy, you'll know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is I want to wrap some of the fingertips in particular. So what we're going to do is wrap the individual fingertip in gauze. And I'm going to try, I'm no Egyptian priest by any stretch. But you just kind of want to be just a tad random. But you got to remember the Egyptians were quite good at embalming, so if you're trying to replicate it too much, you're going to want it to be very, very good wrapping, very steady wrapping. Now, what I'm going to do here is just kind of cut this piece here. I'm going to wrap it and bring it back down around this wrist to kind of like that. Now we're going to glue it again right here. And I'll just kind of pull that off. Now, I'll put one other piece, and I'm going to cut just a little section of this off because I'm going to wrap it about mid-joint on one of the fingers. I'll wrap it right in there. And yes, the Egyptians did go through the trouble of wrapping individual fingers and toes. So that's kind of the idea here. And, you know, if you're worried about it looking too sticky or too tight or whatever, remember the Egyptians actually put resin into the bandages, which made it even harder to get into them. There was this one mummy that I was reading about with an Egyptologist in the 1800s. They used to unwrap mummies in people's living rooms after dinner as kind of like an after-party celebration once the British gained control of Egypt. See, now that looks pretty good. Now, we're going to put a ring on his finger. And I'm going to glue that into place right here. Now, if you'd like, you could also come around and put maybe a little bit of gold paint or something right in here to kind of make it look more like a gold ring. And I'll be right back, and I will go get some gold paint, and we will do that. Alright guys, time to put on the finishing touches. So I've got some royal gold paint here. That was an odd sound. We're going to paint. Now I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to kind of simulate the metal coming up from right here. Now we're going to let that dry a few minutes, and then we will paint it. But Royal Gold is another folk art brand, and it's good stuff. So we'll be back with you in a few minutes and let this dry. Alright guys, the hot glue is in place for the ring, and now I'm going to use this rather pinpointy little brush to put on the gold paint. And we'll see how this turns out, shall we? Try to keep it, you want to keep it away from the bandages, if at all possible. I don't want to get the bandages in it. So what we're going to do is I may end up having to do this by coat. Because now I could have used the I am a doofus. You guys got that on YouTube. I could have used that. Guys, matter of fact, if you do this project, get some of these sparkle ones and use that for your the jewel for the ring. I didn't even think about that. That's a right good idea, and I did not think about it until I saw it. All right, there you are. So there's your Egyptian mummy's hand. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. And I will see you cats on the flip side. Don't forget to follow us on Pinterest, Patreon, and Facebook. And I will have more projects coming up for Halloween on a budget. Now, I'll tell you right now, this one here cost me about maybe $2.50, counting the hot glue. So, if you're worried about this red right here, well, there's a lot of things could be in there. They could be like hiding little scrolls in there. They could have had excerpts from the Book of the Dead in one of these. All sorts of things. So, the red actually just makes it look even creepier in a way, I think. Like there's blood all over it or something. Anyway, so, if you like this video, I already said that, didn't I? Alrighty. Well, this is Dr. Von Mad, and I'll see you cats on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, and God bless. Guys, we're back. Forgot to tell you, there was one other thing we needed to do. And that was to age these bandages. They look way too fresh to be an Egyptian mummy. So, what we're going to do is use a little toasted vanilla, and I'm going to try to just you just kind of want to smudge it just a hair. So I'm going to get some of this. I got a little contamination on this brush. A little staining's not going to hurt it. It's supposed to be 5,000 years old or 3,000 years old or whatever. Just do this. You want to make them look all grungy and yucky. You don't want them to be too dark, but you do kind of need just a hint of the grunge to them, just to kind of make them look a little aged. And almost like dry brushing clay, really. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this down here where I can age this loose piece here too while I'm in the neighborhood. Otherwise it just looks like a freshly chopped arm, and that's not what we're looking for, even though you could probably do that and get away with it. So what we're going to do is just kind of mingle that up and kind of make it look aged, and try to get it as much as you can. I just plumb forgot this. I had this in mind, and I just realized that I'd missed a step again. The vagaries of the elderly mind, I suppose. Now, I know there's some folks out there way older than me, or they're saying that's cute. And that's fair enough. Now, go ahead and get underneath here, too, because this brush has about had it. Get a little bit of this, and we're just going to kind of go up the arm a piece. You got to make it look like it's had maybe some sand in it and some dust, and as Vincent Price said, the funk of 40,000 years. So, I really wish this old brush would quit losing quills. Like that one right there. So, basically wanting to dirty it up, you got to stain it a bit. So, what we're doing right now is this kind of, it's akin to distressing a cabinet or something. What you're doing is basically trying to make the material look older than it really is. And there's other ways to do that too, but those are for different episodes. When you're poor folks, you learn very quickly how to make stuff look like other stuff. So, that's actually looking much better. Still got a bit of this red right there, and I'm going to see what I can do about that. Let's kind of hit it just a hair. So we're just wanting like I said, the bandages, you got to remember they've been wrapped around a dead guy for 2,000 years. They're not going to be clean. So, you might even, in some of these tombs, there was like mold and everything else in there. Even in a dry tomb, you're apt to have like fungal growth or something. And the Egyptians used other things, and a lot of the ancients did in like tombs. Things like toxic cinnabar was used. Stuff like different types of mold and fungi. And now we're going to hit this. Just be very careful when you do this, because you don't want to get it over onto the mummy's fingers. You ain't going to get it perfect. And really, if I'd have thought about it, I should have done this before I actually wrapped them. But hindsight is 20/20. So what we're going to do now is just kind of distress this just a hair. You don't want to use a whole lot of paint. You just barely want to tap it. There you go. Now that looks much more like it. Almost forgot that, guys. It shows that I can get a little bit distracted. So, there you are. And like I said, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye and God bless. And you can already see a difference. So, bye-bye.